Hi there, this is Chris Burgess. I've written three different blog posts about the art of storytelling, and I wanted to bring those together. So what I've done is I've used Google Notebook LM, and it has created a video which you will see shortly. The reason I did this is I believe that the art of storytelling is hugely important, not only to help sell your product, but to determine what you build. So it is twofold. If you have a great story, people will want your product. The interesting thing, though, will be is your product capable of serving the story that you've been telling? So if it isn't, that's where you start to understand how to develop your product. You've got a story that resonates with people. How do you get your product to reflect that story? So this is why I believe that storytelling is one of the most important aspects to building a company. And hopefully you enjoy what Google Notebook LM has produced. Thank you, and please, welcome any feedback. So let me know.
Have you ever wondered why some totally groundbreaking technologies just take off and change the world, while others that seem just as promising kind of fizzle out? Well, a lot of the time, it really comes down to just one thing: the story. So today, we're going to break down the playbook for selling the unseen, for turning these complex, brilliant ideas into something people feel like they just can't live without. And really, that's the big question, isn't it? You can have the most incredible piece of engineering in the world, but if you don't have a clear story to go with it, it's just really hard to explain and even harder to sell. The tech itself might be flawless, but if people don't get why it matters to them, well, it's just a solution looking for a problem. All right, let's dive right in. To build that killer story, we first have to understand that there are really two fundamental ways a product's journey can kick off. You can start with the story, or you can start with the product. And this is such a fascinating contrast. On one side, you've got the story-first approach. Amazon is famous for this. They start with a belief. They literally write a press release for a product before they even build it. And if that press release doesn't sound amazing, they just don't build the product. Then on the other side, you've got the product-first approach, which is super common in the world of new tech. You start with proof, some new, amazing capability, and then you have to figure out the story that explains why anyone should care. But here's the thing, and this is so important. It's not about which path is right. Neither one is. The real magic, the real skill, is learning how to move back and forth between them. You use a great story to guide what you build, and then you use the evidence from your product to make your story even stronger. Okay, so let's look at this through another really critical lens. Is your product a cure, or is it a vitamin? Because figuring this out is key. It basically dictates your entire storytelling strategy. Just ask yourself this one simple question. Are you fixing something that is clearly broken, or are you making something that already works better? Your answer tells you everything about whether you're selling a cure or a vitamin. A cure is pretty straightforward, right? Something hurts, something's broken, and your product is the fix. The value is obvious. The sale is logical. It's like you have a headache, you take an aspirin. The story pretty much tells itself. But a vitamin, that's where things get way trickier. A vitamin doesn't fix a broken system, it enhances one that's already working just fine. It makes your life better in ways you probably didn't even know to ask for. And because of that, the story isn't just important, it is absolutely everything. I mean, just think about these apps we all know. None of them solved some massive, unsolvable problem. People were learning languages before Duolingo, it just made it feel like a fun daily game. People were writing documents before Notion, it just made them powerful and connected. They all took something we were already doing and just made it smoother, better, more delightful. So how in the world do you sell a vitamin? Well, you don't sell a list of features, you sell a feeling. You sell the experience. And there are really two main ways to think about that experience. Is it immersive? Does it pull you into a totally new digital world, like watching a movie with friends in VR? Or is it additive, where it layers useful info onto the world you're already in, like seeing navigation arrows in your smart glasses? One replaces your reality, and the other enhances it. Man, this quote just absolutely nails it. Nobody cares about the tech jargon. AR, VR, XR. It's all just alphabet soup. What people actually care about is the feeling. How does it make me feel? more connected, smarter, more efficient. The experience is the product. Which brings us to the billion-dollar question. How do you take a delightful vitamin and turn it from just a cool novelty into a genuine necessity? How do you make it so essential that people can't even imagine going back to how things were before? So here's the playbook. It's really 4 steps. First, don't try to invent a totally new behavior out of thin air. Find a habit people already have and latch onto it. Then, enhance what they're doing. Don't try to replace it. Make it ridiculously easy to adopt. And finally, never ever stop listening and making it better. And that's really the key takeaway here. You want adoption to feel like a simple upgrade, not a massive, painful overhaul. Think about it. Slack just felt like a better version of the workplace chat we were already using. Canva felt like a simpler, more intuitive version of design tools we already knew. They didn't force us to relearn everything from scratch. Okay, let's pull all these ideas together into what we can call the master skill, the rhythm of progress. This isn't about picking one path and sticking to it. It's about knowing exactly how and when to dance between them in a continuous cycle. So, it starts like this. You have a powerful story, a bold belief about how the world could be a better place. But eventually, talk is cheap, right? That belief needs some proof. That's your cue to shift focus to building the product, to actually creating the evidence that makes your story true. And then, once you have that evidence, maybe it's a working prototype, maybe it's some early user feedback, that's still not enough on its own. That proof needs a narrative. It needs a compelling story to explain what it all means, and most importantly, why it matters. And that's when you shift right back to storytelling. This just perfectly captures that delicate dance. Belief without evidence is fragile. It can shatter easily. But evidence without belief? It's just forgettable data. You absolutely need both to succeed. And here's the ultimate endgame. When you truly master this rhythm, your vitamin slowly starts to feel like a necessity. It becomes a cure. Just think about the smartphone. It started out as a total luxury, a vitamin for the well-off. And today, for most of us, leaving home without it feels like a real problem. It feels like a cure for being disconnected. It's become absolutely essential. So I'll leave you with this one thought to chew on. Take a good, hard look at what you're working on and ask yourself, is it a belief that you desperately need to prove, or is it a proof that desperately needs a story? The answer to that question will tell you exactly what you need to do next.